just to put in the context, I'm a retired gynecologist, so that may help a little bit with the story. And I have to give a little bit of a disclaimer. The names of people in the story will be changed for privacy and to help me avoid a HIPAA violation, which is a felony and carries penalties of $50,000 fine, I don't have it, and a year in jail. And I don't think I'd like it. I've heard the food really sucks. Okay. So I met Mrs. Hunsberger, a Pennsylvania Dutch farmer's wife from York County, complete with the accent and everything. And her speech was peppered with things like, okay, and all right now. Very, very nice lady. And the reason I met her, or first off, she was a very big woman. I'm not talking obese, I mean big. I can't remember exactly how tall she was, but when she and I were standing next to each other, I had to look up to talk to her and look her in the eye. She was also wide. I don't mean fat, I mean wide. She was a farmer's wife, and that helped her in her duties on the farm. So one of the reasons why we ran into each other, or the reason, is she had a pelvic tumor that was the size of a large Thanksgiving turkey. So we took her to the OR, took it out. Luckily it was benign. And after the operation, this woman was a star. I mean, she was out of the bed the first night after surgery. She was walking the halls at 4:30 in the morning, like she got up at the house on the farm. Great appetite, everything was great. So you can imagine our surprise when we walked in on the day she was supposed to go home, and she didn't look so good. She was agitated, she was uncomfortable, and I said, Mrs. Hunsberger, what's going on? What's the problem? She said, they burned my pussy. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. I beg your pardon. I had a problem last night. They gave me a treatment, and they burned my pussy. I said, okay, can I take a look? She said, sure, you're the doctor. So I looked, and sure enough, the area in question was swollen, red, irritated, and very uncomfortable looking. So I said, you know what, tell me the story, what happened? I'm gonna drop the accent now too, okay? So I said, tell me the story. She said, well, I couldn't pee. So the nurse said she had a trick that would make me be able to empty my bladder. I said, okay, who's your nurse? And she told me, I thought, oh my God. She said, Nurse Noreen. Now, I have to tell you, I have the greatest respect for nurses, and I have the greatest respect for the nursing profession, because they're the unsung heroes of the healing arts. But this woman was a weapons grade dope, okay? She would do things like tell patients things that were completely different from what we wanted them to do. And my personal favorite was her telling families and patients that we were giving sanitized information. And that really bothered me because I believed in total transparency. So anyway, on the urology floor, where the patients are generally all males, if they ran into somebody who had a problem, they would put a specimen collection bucket in the commode, break an ammonia inhalant, the smelling salts, throw it in the bucket, had these guys sit on the commode, and in theory, the ammonia fumes would trigger a urinary event. I have never seen anywhere where that is actually an accepted thing to do. So I guess what ended up happening is the nurse didn't get the memo talking about the main differences between the legs structure of men and women, or she didn't understand it when they said, don't use this on a female patient. So she ended up giving Mrs. Hunsberger first-degree chemical burn of her privates because of the irritated nature of the ammonia fumes. So we gave her some steroid cream. She got better pretty rapidly, but when a patient's injured, we have to submit an incident report. That causes a committee to be made. and the committee came up with the idea that this has to be a banned procedure in this hospital because it's of minimal and questionable efficacy. So Mrs. Hunsberger became the unwitting agent of having a not useful and perhaps dangerous treatment removed from the hospital and saving any further woman patient from the discomfort and infamy of having burning of the privates.